So it's this pattern here, and I've had it for many years. So what I've done is I went into the pattern and I actually photocopied, which is normally, you're not supposed to copy patterns that are made for somebody else, but I mean, or made by somebody else, but it's for my own use. So I just photocopied my pieces because there's multiple sizes in here and I want to use 2 different sizes. So I just photocopied them and I marked all over them, because this is not going to be all the way up to the bust line. It's going to be cut off right where my thumb is. It's just going to be a waist thing. So I'm really hacking the heck out of it. So that's why that's what I've been working on all this time. So now I'm laying it out on this fabulous piece of linen that I have that's embroidered, and I want to make sure it's really straight. So it's hard because the pieces, they look like you should put them all going in the same direction, but you need to understand that that arrow we talked about last week is where you go along the weave of your fabric. So I have the arrow in the same direction as the fabric or as the selvage, as we talked about. It's really hard to tell. Like usually you can measure the difference, the distance between the arrow and the edge of the fabric here. And up here, it's the same distance. And then over here, it should be the same distance. But then when you get toward the middle, it seems a little bit inaccurate. So all I do is I fold it on that arrow because I want to line it up really, really nicely. So in the same direction as the weave, which I can see clearly on this linen, I just folded my arrow and laid that. So now I know that that's going in the straight direction that it needed to be. So I pinned them all like that, like folding it back, peeking at my weave, and then laying it down. So then I'm going to cut all these out, and I have lots of little marks. When I make even commercial patterns, I mark all over them because I want to know next time what I did. So I do a lot of marking all over them. And I cut out 2 sizes, and I want to show you how crazy I am. This is what you do when you have a 5-hour class. I like to do crazy things. I do this all the time. So what I did is I wanted to make sure that I keep my, let's see, I'll do here. I want to keep my patterns neatly. So I made a little pocket for them. How crazy is that? I told you it was crazy. All this is organization. I organize my whole sewing room like this. I have these little pocket things hanging all over the place where I made pockets out of paper. I mean, it's cardstock. This was an old folder, like for a report folder. And then I punch a giant hole in it with my rabbit punch, and then I can hang it. So everything is really flat and it's easy to use. So all I did was I sewed all my edges with bias tape first, just so that the paper doesn't tear apart later. It's a decent not cardstock, but like poster board. You could use cardstock if you're making a small one, but you can sew on cardboard or regular paper. It's easy to sew. And the reason I put the bias tape on it is because once you sew it, it's like perforated and it would just break apart. So I just seal it with bias tape. And I've literally had some of these that I've made many, many years. So it's a cheap way to just throw something together for storage of my patterns, because I don't want to go getting all kinds of fabric out and interfacing and all that BS. This is firm, is what I want. It hangs nicely. I can throw them in the closet. It goes on, you can buy these hooks downtown. It just goes on one of these hooks, and the hook just goes through this hole. You can cut your own hole, or I have a rabbit punch. And so now that can hang in the closet if you have a ton of those to go. That's how they do it in the industry. These are how they hang all their samples that they're working with. So that's all I wanted to show you, is what I've been up to for the last few minutes. And I'm looking for my other corsets to show you. Hang on, I'll get my corsets. Like any artist, I have things kind of strewn all over the place that I'm organizing. So this is what I'm working on. This is a different pattern. This is a totally different shape. And I've sold these on Etsy. They're really fun. So that's one of them. The back is really high. And then I'm almost done with this one. This one is going to hook in front. That other one has a zipper on the side, so you can unzip it. This one is one of my favorite textiles to work with. I made this out of necktie fabric. I buy necktie fabric. It was from the necktie manufacturer in Salinas, but they're gone now. But I bought a whole bunch of their yardage for super cheap. And so I just, like little gems, I just piece it all together. So that became my corset, my fashion corset. And then, before you sew the lining, you can put this wonderful detail on it. So that's in the very back at the waistline. And then it just hooks on. It's really cute just on the top of clothing. So that's what I've been working on. I do piping on all of it. The yellow is the piping. And then that's piping. I'm just showing you this because there's so much you can do after you start making something, or something you already own, like a pair of jeans. You can start embroidering on it or putting all kinds of stuff on it. These are little of those push through stud things where you push it through, and then on the back you lay down those pokey things, which are painful when you poke them too hard. This is a little square. They're not buttons, they're like beads. I got them at the bead store, but there's a hole on either side, so I just sew those on. And all of that happens before I line it. So then I put the lining on flat with my label, and then instead of turning it inside out, I just put binding. It looks much better to have binding. It gives it more structure. And when you turn it inside out, it's all lumpy in there. So I prefer doing the binding. So all I have to do is the binding on this one. So that's just an idea of some of the crazy stuff I do. I'll show you one more crazy thing. I just got an IKEA pegboard system where you just hang all your stuff on the wall. And so this is going up there. So this, I put it on IKEA hooks. This is my organization that goes above the ironing board. Because the ironing I use it constantly for my work. So I needed to have somewhere to put stuff. So I just made a series of pockets. You can see the clear one for the labels. There's a pocket in here that's a hiding pocket. And inside there I have interfacing, like the hem tape, so I could hem stuff. I've got tweezers hanging from just a strap, because tweezers are so many different lengths. I just hang them on the strap like that. And then of course I have to decorate it with beads and stuff. Then I just have this little, I guess it's like a harness for my scissors. You could put tools in there too. This you could hook something on. And this was my favorite. At the end you get an idea. It's like, oh cool, I like that label. So I just put a magnet under there and sewed the label on, and then it can hold my S hooks and my seam ripper. So all of this stuff is at the ironing board. Is really handy. So you can make little things for yourself that are handy dandy, like a roll for your paintbrushes or pencils. We had a student make one. He was a sushi chef, and he made a roll for his sushi knives that he could take to and from work. So the sky's the limit. It's sometimes not about getting inspired. It's like, I need something to hold this. So I need somewhere to put this. So think about what you can make that would house your belongings that you need that you use all the time. Because there's more to life than zipper pouches, right? Anyway, I guess that's it for the day. I kept you a little bit later than usual. As always, if you have questions, let me know. And keep working on your projects. And next week, I'll think of something interesting to talk about, it unless you have a request. Otherwise, we'll visit another project. Have a great weekend, everybody. Say goodbye.
Thanks, Judy.
Keep sewing, keep healthy. Hopefully we have a new president. Craziness. Yeah, maybe I can sleep tonight. I don't know. I'm not sure. They're not telling me.
It's been a tense couple of days.
Yes, very tense. But anyway, we'll get through it. We got better things to do, guys, right? We have great eating to do. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.